Some children learn how to cook before they learn how to play. They learn how to calm an angry parent before they understand their own emotions. They learn how to take care of everyone else, while quietly learning not to need anyone themselves. And people call them mature. She's so responsible. He's an old soul. You can always count on her. But here's the question nobody asks. What happens when that child grows up? What happens when the child who learned to carry everyone else's problems becomes an adult? How do they love? How do they argue? How do they trust? How do they raise their own children? And perhaps most importantly, what happens when someone finally tells them, you don't have to handle everything yourself? Because sometimes the behaviors that look like extraordinary strength started as a child's way of coping with a world that expected too much from them. There is a psychological concept called parentification. It describes situations where a child takes on responsibilities or emotional roles that are normally expected of an adult. Sometimes it's practical. A child may take care of younger siblings, cook meals, clean the house, or become responsible for things far beyond what would normally be expected at their age. But sometimes it's emotional. The child becomes the person a parent talks to about adult problems, the mediator during arguments, the one who keeps everyone calm, the one who feels responsible for everybody's emotions. And something important can happen inside that child's mind. They may begin to learn, my job is to take care of things. Not, what do I want? But, what needs to be done? And that difference can follow them for years. Imagine growing up constantly having to anticipate what might go wrong. You learn to notice things, a change in someone's voice, a door closing harder than usual, a parent's facial expression, silence at the dinner table. You start reading the room before you speak. You start thinking several steps ahead. If I do this, will it cause a problem? If I say this, will they get upset? And what can I do to make things easier? And as an adult, this can sometimes turn into an incredible ability to anticipate other people's needs. They're often the person who notices when something is wrong before anyone else does. But there's a downside. They can become so focused on everyone else's emotional state that they lose touch with their own. Someone asks, what do you want? And they genuinely don't know, because they became experts at answering, what does everyone else need? Now imagine this person grows older. They're extremely capable. They don't like asking for help. They solve their own problems. They might even feel uncomfortable when someone tries to help them. Someone says, let me take care of that. And they immediately respond, no, it's okay. I've got it. It can look like confidence, and sometimes it is. But for some people who had to become responsible too early, independence can also become a form of protection, because somewhere along the way, they learned, if I handle everything myself, I can't be disappointed when someone doesn't show up. So they become the person everyone depends on, while finding it incredibly difficult to depend on anyone themselves. And this can make their relationships complicated. They may become the helper, the listener, the problem solver, the person friends call when their life is falling apart, and they may genuinely enjoy helping people. But sometimes there's an imbalance. Everyone knows how to come to them, but they don't know how to go to anyone else. They can tell you exactly what their friend needs, but ask them what they need. And suddenly the answer becomes, I'm fine, even when they're not. They may also have difficulty saying no, because if your sense of worth became connected to being useful, saying, I can't, can feel strangely uncomfortable. So they keep giving, and giving, and giving, until resentment eventually appears, not necessarily because they don't love the people around them, but because they have spent so long giving that they don't know how to ask for something in return. And then they fall in love. This is where things can become especially interesting. They may be incredibly attentive partners. They remember the little things. They anticipate needs. They solve problems. They take responsibility. They show love through actions. But there's a strange paradox. They may be much more comfortable taking care of someone than being taken care of. Their partner says, you don't have to do everything. Let me help you. And they say, it's fine. Their partner asks, what's wrong? And they respond, nothing. Not necessarily because they're trying to hide something. They may simply have learned to process difficult emotions alone. For some, vulnerability can feel almost like losing control, because being vulnerable means admitting, I need you. And if childhood taught you that needing people was dangerous, disappointing, or simply impossible, that sentence can be incredibly difficult to say. Now imagine that person gets married. Suddenly, they're building a life with someone else, and the habits they developed as a child can come with them. They may automatically take responsibility for everything: the house, the finances, the children, the emotional atmosphere, everyone's problems. They may think, if I don't handle it, who will? And that can create tension, because their spouse may not understand why they're carrying so much. And the person may not understand why their spouse isn't automatically doing the same. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. They aren't consciously thinking, I must control everything. Their brain may simply have learned. Responsible people keep things together, and when things fall apart, they feel like they have failed. Now think about an argument with their spouse. For some people, disagreement is simply disagreement. But for someone who grew up feeling responsible for keeping peace, conflict can feel much bigger. They may immediately try to fix it. Okay, let's just calm down. What can we do to solve this? I'm sorry. Even before they've figured out whether they actually did anything wrong. Because somewhere inside, restoring peace may feel more important than expressing their own feelings. Others may go in the opposite direction. They shut down. They become emotionally distant. They say, I don't want to talk about it. So the same childhood experience can potentially produce very different adult responses. The important question is, what did this person learn about conflict when they were young? Was conflict something they had to fix, something they had to escape, or something they were never allowed to express? And then, something extraordinary happens. The child who never got enough time to simply be a child becomes a parent. And this is where the story can go in very different directions. Some parents become determined to give their children what they never had. They want their children to feel heard, safe, protected. They let them make mistakes. They tell them, you don't have to take care of me. I'm the adult. And sometimes that can become part of breaking an unhealthy cycle. But there's another possibility. They may become extremely anxious about being a good parent. They may overprotect, overcompensate, or struggle when their child is dependent on them. And sometimes they may unconsciously expect maturity from their child because they themselves were forced to become mature so early. At your age, I was already doing this. But their child isn't supposed to be them. Their child is supposed to be a child. And that's one of the hardest things for someone with this history to learn. Their child doesn't have to earn the childhood they never had. And perhaps the most complicated part is this, that a person can become a successful adult and still carry the emotional rules they learned as a child. Be useful. Don't be a burden. Don't complain. Handle it yourself. Keep everyone happy. Don't need too much. Those rules may have helped them function when they were young. But adulthood is different. You don't have to earn love by constantly being useful. You don't have to prove your strength by refusing help. And you don't have to spend your entire life being the person who holds everybody else together. Because maybe growing up isn't about becoming even stronger. Maybe sometimes growing up means finally realizing that the child you used to be deserved care too. So if you recognize yourself in this, don't immediately ask, what's wrong with me? Ask it, what did I have to become in order to get through my childhood? Because sometimes, the behavior that confuses you as an adult makes perfect sense when you understand where it began. The independence, the constant helping, the difficulty asking for support, the need to keep the peace, the discomfort with vulnerability, the feeling that you have to hold everything together. They may not be random traits. They may be adaptations. And the good news is, an adaptation can change. You can learn to receive. You can learn to say no. You can learn that someone else's emotions aren't always your responsibility. You can learn that asking for help doesn't make you weak. And you can learn something that should have been obvious from the beginning. You were never supposed to be the adult before you were ready. You were supposed to be a child, and you were allowed to be one. If this video made you understand yourself or someone you love a little differently, give it a like and subscribe to Everything Psychology for more videos that explore the hidden reasons behind the way we think, feel, and behave. And tell me in the comments, do you think having to grow up too soon can affect the way someone behaves as an adult? I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts.